Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve Podcast. Today's guest is all about going to the gym. I still, at this point of recording, haven't decided what it will be called, whether it will be called gym or starting out of the gym or, I don't know, my experience at the gym. I don't know. But there was a lot of things I wanted to cover about gym, and most of it is really, really positive in terms of my own personal transformation over the last 7 months. What I get out of it, what I've seen, what I've experienced, the kind of good vibes that I see whenever I go into the gym. There's a lot of things that I wanted to cover in this show, and there's also some unfortunate things, some things that aren't so pleasant about the gym, and I'll be sharing some of Reddit's thoughts because, as you know, every time I do a podcast or content for my Patreon, I'll always ask the people of Reddit and ask people online and sort of gather responses and gain a sort of an idea of what other people think and what other people's experiences are. And some of them were pretty wild, but I want to start with a quote because I think this sort of sums it up quite well as far as starting out at the gym. It takes 21 days to start a habit and 90 days to create a lifestyle. And that's something I want to lead with this particular podcast, because if you're going to go to the gym, if you're going to work out or do any kind of fitness in your life, it needs to be part of your life. It needs to be part of your lifestyle. It's not enough to just do it here and there, sporadically. Like, the key with working out and getting fit is consistency, but you've got to consistently do it, right? So it's got to be part of your life. And look, sometimes you just don't want to do it. And ironically, and I've said this to friends of mine that go to the gym, those sessions where you really don't want to go tend to be the best sessions that you have, because they tend to kind of make you, they get the most out of you. You get more out of you by going and doing those sessions. And I think a lot of going to the gym is kind of proving something to yourself. It's like you versus you. Some days are harder, some days are easier. It's always hard. It's always going to be something that pushes you. It's always going to be something that, can get the best of you or the worst of you, but it will get something out of you. And I feel like, obviously, the best kind of indicator of whether or not you're doing well is obviously the progress that you make, but it doesn't come straight away. And I feel like gym offers so many life metaphors. Like, for instance, even just the fact that it takes a while to achieve your fitness goals. Like, you don't see the results instantly. It takes some time. That's a great metaphor for what life is like, because a lot of things in life are not instant. And, we live in an instant gratification culture now. Everything is instantaneous. We can get anything by the click of a finger, by just tapping something on an app or a computer. We get things really, really quickly now. But that still doesn't change the fact that there is so much in life that requires you to be patient and wait and see it through. And gym is the best example of that. And I think that for me, my approach to the gym has changed over the course of the last 7 months. So I basically, to catch you up, I used to go to gym pretty solidly, I would say somewhere mid 2018 to the end of 2019, something like that. I basically went for a year and a half when I used to live in Estonia. And when I look back at what my workout schedule was back then, it was okay. I wasn't paying much attention to my diet, which is a real big part of gymming. I used to just eat anything, and I thought by eating a lot that would work. But, it really depends on what you're eating. You really got to get the most out of your food as well as your workouts. And, back then I hadn't really figured out what my goals were. I guess I was just kind of like, I should do this. I should go to the gym and just kind of get fit, right? But I think you need some short-term goals and some long-term goals when it comes to going to the gym. You need a kind of a clear structure. And I find that structure is such a big theme in my life with everything that I do. Everything I do is planning now, especially since I have a lot less time because of, having to work in customer service and working unspeakable hours sometimes. It means that you have less time. And that's inevitably impacted my gym time as well. So everything has to be kind of planned out. But by doing that, I feel like you do get a lot more from the sessions. And when I compare where I used to be with gym and where I'm at now, it's like night and day. To give you a bit of a rundown of what I used to do, it was basically just like I would go in and not dissimilar to what I do now. I would warm up, warm down, always warm up and warm down, always do that. But then I would go and like knacker myself out on like the treadmill, or I do cycling, but I do it for like 15, 20 minutes. And so I'd be knackered, and then I'd have to do like the rest of my workout, like weights and whatever. And I used to basically think that intensive training was key. Like I would just do 5, 10, 15 minutes each on different things and then switch around. So it'd be like cardio weights, cardio weights, cardio weights for like an hour and a half or something. And there was progress. There's photos that I have from back then where I could see, some definition, muscle definition, arms and everything, but it was pretty ineffective. And I think a lot of that came down to diet, but I'd say the bigger problem was basically that I hadn't really thought about what I was doing in the gym. I hadn't really researched. I hadn't asked anybody. And that's a big problem. You need to do that. You need to do your research, just like with anything else. I mean, recently I've had a friend, shout out to Lewis. He'll never hear this or see this, but shout out anyway. And he's really into his fitness, and he's very good at it. And I told him what my current workout regime was, and he was just like, you seem to be missing all of these different, muscle groups. Like, why are you not doing this? And then he sort of told me the problems with what my current workout would be in terms of like the future. So my workout regime for like the last 5 or 6 months was basically, and this was completely different from what I used to do in the gym. I would go in and so I'll start with my goal and then I'll run through my workout regime. So the goal was to just lose weight. And, I wanted to lose weight here. I'd really let myself go during lockdown. I wasn't gymming. Obviously the gym's closed. And then when they reopened, I just never really could be bothered to get back in there, because once you fall off, it's very difficult to get back into it, And as I said at the beginning of this, it takes 21 days to form a habit, but, it takes much more to make it into a lifestyle. And it's, whenever I tell people or encourage people to go to the gym, it's not something that I take lightly. I know it's just not as simple as like, oh, you just go and that's it. Like it takes a lot of mental strength to keep going, especially when you're just tired. Like maybe you come home from work and you're exhausted and now you got to do a gym session, or it's your day off and you just want to relax. It takes a lot. And, even 7 months later, there are days when I don't want to go, but you just got to like push yourself to go. You really do. But you don't have to go like and here's the thing as well, and I'll get back to the goals and everything. But like one thing I want to add is that I think there's a lot of people that see in the gym, and I'm guilty of this too, where when you're not informed and you don't know what you're doing, you kind of just make these crazy decisions. Like I meant what I said earlier about, doing like half an hour on the bike or 50 minutes on the bike and then knackering myself out. Ideally, you want to kind of conserve your energy throughout the workout in order to use it steadily throughout the workout. So by the end of it, you're getting the last bits of whatever energy you've got for the workout, but you're not completely exhausted. Because obviously if you're completely exhausted at the beginning, then you're just going to have no energy and you basically can't really do much. So it's kind of illogical to do it that way. But if no one tells you and you don't do your research, then how will you ever know? And you're just not going to make any progress. And I think that's the key. You want to see that progress. And I think sometimes in the beginning, when someone doesn't see progress after like a month or two, generally they'll give up because they'll be like, "Oh, this is not working." And it's like, it's not working because your technique is not quite there. That something needs to be switched up. And another thing about gym, just final before I start talking about my current or my switched up regime in the last 6 to 8 months, is that at the end of the day, when you're figuring out how to do your workouts, you've got to kind of like break it down in terms of what actually works for you, because what works for you might not work for another person. just because this person is doing things this way doesn't mean it will work for you. Our genetics are different. Our bodies react differently to things. Even dieting and the meals and you know, for example, I never eat breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But if I eat breakfast, I get super tired. Doesn't matter what it is, even if it's something slow release like eating porridge or something, it just does nothing for me. What will happen is I'll have a breakfast at like 7 or 8 a.m. and then I'll feel really knackered by about 11, 12, which I just think is pointless. So I just load up on coffee, and I'm not advising this. This is just for me. This won't work for other people, but I load up on coffee. That keeps me going. And then by lunchtime, that's when I have like a big meal, ideally. Uh, lately, it's not been like that because I've just been working so much. So I've been skipping meals and stuff, and it's really, really bad. And I've started to notice that too because I've started losing more weight than I want to lose. But we move, right? Anyway, that's something really important to consider. I think is just like the impact on your body, trying things that other people advise because that works for them, but that might not work for you. Anyway, my regime, my goal, as I said before, was to just cut weight, get a bit toned, and then kind of see where we go from there. And this was my workout for about 5 or 6 months. It was to just go in, basically just, I wonder how many times I said basically in this. Let's get a counter. Stretch, do free weights, either dumbbells or the bar where you attach it yourself and you put the weights either side. And I would start the workout doing that. So I do, bicep curls, and then I do like above head. I don't know what they're called, but it would sort of lightly train shoulders and mostly train your biceps this way. And you'd feel a lot more weight doing it this way than you would doing it this way. For those listening, please watch the video version. Yeah, I mean, imagine bicep curls and also lifting the bar above your head. Like, that's basically what I'm talking about. And so I would do maybe 3 or 4 sets of each version. And I was normally like, I would sort of do it until I couldn't really do it anymore. And that would always be my limit. And sometimes I push it a little bit more if I felt like I had a bit more energy. But that's just the beginning of the workout. And so my arms would be aching a little bit. And so I would go and do some cardio or something. And that was always my plan, is to kind of do what I used to do, but be a bit more intensive about it. So instead of doing like 15 minutes on an exercise bike, maybe I just do 5 or 10. And so I was doing like 5 minutes on the rowing machine, maybe 10 minutes cycling, give my arms a chance to rest. And then I would go and do chest press. And I would end on that. So I basically just do the bicep curls and the shoulder weights at the beginning, rowing, cycling, and then end on chest press. And I inevitably had less energy to do chest press. See, now I begin with chest press because I feel the most physically demanding machine that I use, but that's just for me personally. And I sort of do it in a little loop, which I'll explain in a second. But that's how I was doing my workouts for about 6 months. And I explained this to a friend of mine, Lewis, and he immediately was like, well, well done for achieving your goals. I've seen your progress. It's really, really good. But, at the end of the day, this is causing problems because you're not training your back, your lats, your shoulders. If you continue in this way, it's going to push your shoulders forward and sort of push you into a sort of a hunch position. And it's not going to be healthy for your body. But most importantly, there's a bunch of different muscle sets that you are not training. And that's integral. Like, obviously, everyone has different goals in the gym. Some people just want to lose weight. Some people want to just have a little bit of muscle definition. Some people are bodybuilders. Some people are athletes. Everyone's got different goals. Mine are not 100% clear, but I think my goals mainly are to just keep fit, set myself up for the future in a good way. And then also just see how far I can push this, really. I don't want to use anything, supplements or anything like that. I'm not interested in that. I might use stuff that's legal and like good for your body potentially, but I'm not going to use anything to do bodybuilding. Like, I'm not really interested in that. But I want to see how far I can push this and how much I can get out of myself, really. Because I feel like that's one of the biggest parts of gym is the healthiest parts maybe is seeing how far you can push your body. How much mental strength do you have? How much can you get out of yourself? Like, deep down can you dig? Yeah, there's been times when I really felt like I couldn't keep going and I just pushed myself that little bit more. And it feels so much more gratifying afterwards when you do that. Like when you have a good workout, and I've got a list of things I look forward to here that I'll get to in a second. But I just want to say, like, when you get a good workout in and you walk out of that place, you feel like $1,000,000. You feel proud of yourself. Obviously, the endorphins have kicked in, so you're feeling the effects of that. But you feel a sense of achievement after doing it, particularly when you've been doing it for a long time and you start to see the results. You look in the mirror and you like what you see, and you're like, yeah, I remember when it was this. And that's why those transformation pics are so important. Like I saw so many of those videos, and I was always really inspired by those people. But I never really thought that that could be me. And now it is me. I'm well onto that journey. The journey is not finished. I don't think it ever ends, really. You just keep going. But I've seen that progress. And I think the biggest thing that Jim has taught me above all else is that anything you want in life, if you work hard enough towards it, you can achieve it. It might not happen as quickly as you want it to happen, might not start to show results as quickly as you want them, but you will get there. Through consistency and hard work, you will get there. You will get somewhere. And then once you start achieving that, I mean, I remember when I achieved my 6-month goal, I was just like, wow, what else could I do? Where else could I take this? If I could do this, what else can I do? And then it gets really exciting. Then it's like you've stepped into like a new phase. And I've applied that mentality to like everything else that I do in life. It's not just gym. And this is why I always implore people to go to gym. This is why I mention this in my live streams. I mention this in real life. I'm like, one of the best things you can do with your life is go to the gym or do some sort of fitness training, because it really will give you like a newfound appreciation for life, for yourself. I think it gives you a better relationship with yourself in some ways. I feel like it makes you realize that like you can be so much more, and you can keep building and moving forward. And even in the darkest of times, when things seem hopeless or things seem dire, you can still achieve results with the gym. It's something that you have 100% control over. And I just find that amazing, because there's so much in life that we don't really have control over, or that are, it's out of our hands, and we just kind of have to accept it. But with gym, it's completely in your hands. It's all down to you. And that's an amazing feeling, being able to control something like that and then see the fruits of your labor after a while. Like you start to see it. And when I took those 6-month photos and I put them online, I was so proud. I was so happy in myself of what I'd achieved. And I wanted to show that off a little bit. I'm not a big show off, but I did want to kind of share that with everybody. But I remember writing the blurb and just kind of talking about the transformation and what it meant to me, and how hard it can be, and what it meant to me, because I think that's key. Gym and working out and fitness is so much more than just going and lifting weights or doing some running. It's a journey. It's a lifestyle, and it will change your life. It really will. Now, when it comes to my current workout, which, as I said before, I'm still figuring it out all the time. But what I do now is, and this was a bit of advice I got from Lewis, was to, instead of timing everything, focus on just doing sets and see how many I can do, and kind of, push myself here and there. If I can do more, but kind of stick to that. So like every machine now, or sets of free weights, whatever the case may be, I will always do like 3 sets of 10, or like 15, or 3 sets of 8, something like that. And the interesting thing about that as well is that every time you go into the gym, you have different levels of energy. Sometimes you've got more, so you're going to push yourself more and get more out of it. And you can feel your body. If you've got more energy or less energy. You can just feel it. Like when you're pushing it and you're pushing it and you're pushing it, and you can kind of, there's something in your head that almost tells you, or at least it does with me, Yeah, I can go. I can do a few more. I can do more than this. Let's do it. Let's do a few more. Then like, I've already got to 10, but let's do 12. Let's do 14. Like whatever. And then there are some days when you just do less. There are days which and it's not great, but sometimes you'll go there and you just won't really be able to do much. And so you have to kind of dial it back a bit and be like, okay, what can I achieve in this session that normally I'd be able to do more with? And so some days, on those days, I'll dial it back and just do like 3 sets of 8 or whatever. But I always make sure to get every single machine in that I need to get in. I'll make sure to get all of them in. So at least I've trained those muscles. Even if I haven't trained them a lot, I've still trained them. And therein lies that consistency. Because you're building it, several sessions a week. You're building on it. One day you do really well, one day maybe not so much, but together on top of each other, that's going to account to progress. That's going to give you something. Hopefully. So yeah, like I'll start with a chest press machine and then I'll move to bicep curl and then I think it's called arm extension. I'm still learning all of this. And then I've started adding lateral press. So I'm trying to focus on training my shoulders and back a little bit more now. And then I'll move on to, I think it's like a form of rowing machine, but it's supposed to train like your chest muscles. So it's kind of more building on what I would do with the chest press machine. And then normally at the moment, I'll end on a sort of a lats style machine, but instead of a bar, you have like 2 handles that you sort of pull down sort of outward, and like you have to sit in a certain way. There's different ways you can sit to kind of train your muscles, but the best way is to sort of lean your back outwards so that you're feeling the effects in your lower body as well as your upper body. And so I'll normally end on that. And as I say, like as the progress moves forward and as I move forward with gym, I think I'll slowly add more and more things. Sometimes I'll add things like this back training machine, which is really awkward. You just basically just extend your back out. A bit like when Robin Williams in that movie did an impression of the hot dog and he just went like back like that. It's like that. It's such a weird machine. But if you do it right, it does kind of give a bit of a feeling. I do have leg days. I sometimes skip them though, because I do a lot of running around at my workplace and I walk to work 25 minutes each way. So I get a lot of like cardio in anyway, but like really you need those leg days when you can train the muscles. And I'm a bit neglectful of that. So I'm trying to get that in, but again, I've got limited time. And when you got limited time, it's like, well, I definitely want to I want to favor getting the muscle days in over the leg days. But I know everyone watching this that's a regular gym goer will be like, no, he's missing leg day. Never skip, missed it. Never, I can't speak. Never skip leg day. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But that's how I approach it. With regards to my diet, I've basically just removed all carbohydrates for the most part from my diet because I always found that I got super tired. And I made the switch to whole wheat like ages, many, 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 many months ago. But it made no difference. Like every time I would have like pasta and chicken, I would just be exhausted. And I was like, well, this isn't right. Food shouldn't constantly make you feel sleepy and tired. Like you should sort of get a bit of energy from it. So instead, I kind of eat lots of chicken and veg, and I've dropped down to like 1 or 2 meals a day, which again, as I said earlier, is not ideal. I think that really and truthfully, I should have 2 meals a day. That should be the norm, but we're not always able to find the time to achieve that, unfortunately. But we are slowly, very slowly getting there. But I mean, it has benefited me. I've learned to love chicken. I would one day love to be a vegetarian, and other than chicken, I'm basically pretty much a vegetarian. I mean, I do eat other things here and there, but like if all I was going to eat is chicken and veg, I'd be happy with that. I do a lot of soups where I'll cook chicken with. I do this one soup where I have like chicken. Let me see, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, onions, chopped tomatoes, sometimes real tomatoes, tomato passata. What else? Oh, and the secret awesome ingredient, coconut milk. That was a lifesaver when I discovered that, because I needed something that made the soups less watery, but I sort of didn't anticipate how much flavor coconut milk gives the soup. And oh my god, does it taste good? Oh, and carrots. If I didn't say carrots, I add carrots to it. And that's a very good kind of soup that kind of gives you quite a lot. I should really start eating bread to get some more fiber and a bit more carbs in there, but yeah, I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I think I'm going to switch up my diet soon anyway, and probably add carbs back into it with in terms of pasta, because soup just takes forever, and I don't really fancy. There's a lot of days when I don't really fancy eating it. Like it's nice the first few days, but after a while, I'm just like, ugh, 4 or 5 days of this. Like, I used to have a housemate who was also a big muscle guy, and he would literally just eat chicken and rice every single day. And I was like, bro, how do you not tire of this? And he's like, it's fine for me. I don't mind. And I'm like, fair enough. It would drive me nuts. I need that variation in my life, the variety. It just gets so boring. It means it sucks the fun out of eating, and I love to eat. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. I love food. It's I almost salivate at the thought of it. you know, that's how much I love food. So anything that makes me not love eating is like the enemy. So yeah, not really much to say about the diet side of things, but that's where I'm at with it right now. Um, One thing I miss about living in Estonia was my whole setup there. I don't have that here, and I really miss it, because you do your workout, and then what I would do is go sit in the sauna or go swimming, and then sit in the sauna, sweat out all of the toxins, and then sit in a hot tub, and then go about my day. And a lot of the time I would do that on my lunch break, because there was a gym across the road from where I worked. So I'd just go on my lunch break, go hit the gym, do all these things. Then I was really cheeky, and I'd have my actual lunch afterwards. So I took way more than an hour. So yeah, I was a bit cheeky, but the managers were doing it as well. So, and they never said anything, so I got away with it. But yeah, that was a bit cheeky. Everyone went to the gym there. Like, Estonians love the gym. Europeans are big fans of the gym. It's a very gym orientated country. And I just miss that setup, because I don't have that at the gym here. I mean, the most we have is showers, which I don't ever really use. Like, I used it yesterday because I had to, but generally speaking, I never really use their facilities. I just go do my workout, have a shower at home, because it's about 5 minutes from my house, so it's okay. But yeah, I do miss those facilities. I would love to go to a bit more of a premium gym, be able to afford to do that, and have access to sauna and all the other nice kind of leisure facilities. That would be nice. But here's things I look forward to when I go to the gym: getting flavored juice at the end of a workout. Oh my God. There's this machine, and it has multiple juice flavors. I don't know I guess it's just flavored water. I don't know if it's got like electrolytes or something in it. I think it's just flavored water. But my thing is to go in there, drink my water, and only sort of how much water I've consumed during the workout is a good indication of how close I am towards the end as well. But at the end of it, I just like to kind of get my juice from the machine, and I normally get, like, I think it's coconut pineapple flavor or something like that. And it's like a little treat for working hard. It's like, here's your treat for working hard. I know it's silly, but I don't know. Like, it makes me happy. It's the small things in life. Also, of course, the shower after the workout. I mean, you feel good after the workout anyway, but once you've had that nice little shower and you've relaxed and kind of eased into in the rest of your day, a lot of the time I'll actually feel quite sort of a sense of a euphoric feeling after having gone to the gym, especially if I've done cardio during that session. Like, I mean, I feel a rush after I've done cardio anyway, because you get your heart racing, you're sweating, it's good for you. But after the workout's done and your body has time to rest, you feel a lot better, and you've got a bit of an energy boost. And of course, you have to kind of counterbalance that by eating and maybe consuming things like coffee or caffeine or whatever, just to kind of raise you up afterwards. But you will have a little bit of a rush for I reckon, about an hour or so, which is always useful. Um, And yeah, there's also a sense of a rush when you're able to reach new weight goals. No, so not weight. Yeah, weight goals. Like when you're lifting weights at the gym and you're able to kind of go to the next level. And it's always the same for me. I'll get to a certain thing where I'll be doing my usual workout and I'll be like, huh, that feels very weak. That's weird. And then I'll go to the next weight setting, the next highest one, and I'll be like, oh, so all this time I was at 41 kg, now I'm at 50 kg, huh? And it's like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I started at like 20 or something at the beginning of this journey, and now I'm at 50, and it's like that's amazing. That progress is small and it's steady and slow, but it's incredible. And I can't be in help but be in awe of that, you know, because that's a good indicator of as well of your progress is like how far you can push yourself and you know like can you go longer on the treadmill, can you go longer on the exercise bike, can you lift heavier weights, you know, like can you do more reps, you know, it's there's always constant indicators around you demonstrating to you your progress and how you should keep going and sky's the limit, you know, it really is, and it's incredible. Now we move to some of the less positive stuff about the gym. Unfortunately, you're going to get dodgy people, you're going to get creeps, you're going to get weirdos, you're going to get assholes. And yeah, for the most part, in my gym that I go to, it's pretty fairly decent. I don't have to deal with many rude people for that or difficult people, but you get a few. And I want to cover that now. There was a guy at a chest press machine recently. So I sat down and I just started doing reps. I was like 2 or 3 in, and he interrupted me. Now, got cardinal sim number one. If you want to speak to someone at the gym, don't interrupt them during the middle of their workout. Wait till they've finished or taken a break, something like that. Unless it's like an emergency or something, don't interrupt them. Wait. Just wait. I just started and I was in my flow and he's interrupting me. Right up, it gets right up in my face and asks me how many more sets I have. And I said, like 2 or 3 more. And he heard 45 minutes apparently. Um, and the guy, I remember the guy very well. He was in a tank top and he was just like, I don't know. He was carrying around luggage, like a suitcase. So I assume he was from out of town or something. And instead of just going somewhere else, working out on something else, he chose to stand like a meter away from me and just wait until I was done. Now, that is one of the most infuriating things you can do to someone when they're at the gym because you need to give people their space. Like, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I feel like gym is kind of like a sanctuary. When I go there, you know, everybody has the right not to be harassed and everyone has the right to feel comfortable in their space and just do what they need to do. And because it is a form of leisure. It is a leisure activity, you know, and it's a luxury. It's what do they call it? A recreational activity. It is that. This is some people's real sense of fun and joy in life. And if you come along and ruin that, I mean, you're an asshole, you know. And this guy was an asshole, and I'm putting him out for it. So if he ever sees this, you're an asshole. Just what the fuck, man. Sorry, I hate rude people. I deal with them so much, and why do you have to be rude? It's not necessary. Like, okay, what should this guy have done? This guy should have gone to another machine and just come back in like 10, 15 minutes. You know, because how long is like, if he wanted specifics, he should have asked at the beginning. If I just, because I would have said, oh, probably 3 sets of 10. 3 sets of 10 with breaks in the middle, not going to be more than about 10 minutes, if that. But I like to take my time. See, now that he was there, sitting there, also sorry, standing there, I felt pressure to go quicker. I couldn't sit and rest because every time I was like resting, he was staring daggers at me. And I'm like, motherfucker, like I need time to rest. I'm not just going to do 3 sets in a row without a break. Like that's not how this works. Sorry, I get a bit heated when I talk about rude people, so I start swearing a lot. But it just infuriates me. How dare you? How dare you do that? And then if that wasn't enough, he interrupts me after the second set to then be like, hey, listen, mate, like, how long are you going to be? Like, I have to go to work soon. It's like, I don't give a fuck if you need to go to work soon. You should have planned your day better. You know what I mean? Like, you should have given yourself more time so that if something would come up, it wouldn't be an issue. That's your problem. That's not my problem. And of course, I'm too nice to say that. So I'm just like, just one more set, mate. But I was livid. I was so annoyed. And then when I got off and I was finally finished, he was like, oh, thank you, mate. And I really was just like, yeah, whatever, mate. Fucking dickhead. And then a similar situation happened recently where a guy came up to me while I was at the bicep curl machine and he asked me how many sets I had left. And I said 2. And then he went away. And I was like, okay, great. Brilliant. He gets it. But then he comes back and I'm midway or at the end of my second set. So it's only been 5 minutes since he was last there. And he just stands there with his mate and they both have their arms crossed, just staring at me. I can feel their presence. Like it's like when you're doing something, like let's say you're at work and you have like a supervisor like staring over your shoulder, you're just more prone to fuck up, and like I was struggling in this particular one because like you strain yourself, whatever. I felt more pressure to get to the end of my set, and I just felt them staring at me the whole time. Like if you're gonna stand there and stare at me while I'm doing it, at least give me some fucking encouragement. Be like, yeah, come on, keep going, something like that. But no, just staring and judging. Yeah, they might not have even been judging at all. They might not have been thinking anything. But that's how it felt. And I just feel that that's so rude and obnoxious and just it really demonstrates like how blissfully unaware people can be in the gym. And you know what? Like I've got more to talk about infuriating people at the gym. And this is just a few of the things I've noticed in my local gym. I'm also going to throw out a lot of the things that people on Reddit said as well, because there's a lot. So it's not just me that feels this way. There are a lot of assholes out there. People putting weights in the wrong places. I don't like to go on a fucking Easter egg hunt around the gym trying to find weights. That's not my idea of a good time at the gym. I want to be able to go over to the weights section and find 15, 16 kg. I don't want to have to find like one on the floor over here, one at the other end of the fucking gym somewhere next to like the exercise bikes. Like, what the fuck? It takes like a minute, 30 seconds to just put them back where you found them. Is that hard? Is it that taxing? But no, you just get these lazy fuckers who just can't be bothered. And it's really disrespectful, I think. Yeah, okay, look, it's not a palace, but you should be treating it as such. You should be treating it as like you would treat your own home, with respect. I just don't get that. People leaving the gym in a mess in general, just not cleaning machines or sweating on a machine and then just getting up and walking off. Like that's disgusting. Other people have to use those machines and you've just left all your bodily fluids lying around on top of them. You just left things in a state. It's disgusting. There's a lot of people that like also get annoyed when like you ask how many sets they've got. Like I'm always nice and polite to people when they ask me things. Okay. I'm only annoyed or give people a bit of an attitude back if they're rude in the way that they said it. If you go, hey buddy, how many sets do you have left? I'll be like, oh, this many, mate. No problem. But no, people will just be like, how many sets do you have? Or how many sets do you have left? And then you'll tell them, they'll be like, oh, yeah, can you hurry it up? I'm like, fuck you. I'm not going to hurry it up. If anything, I'm going to be petty and take my time now, just because you were like that. Fuck. This would be what gets viral, won't it? Me just getting angry about gym stuff. If anything, I've been doing this show now for 2 years. 2 years. This is episode 185, and I'm talking about the gym. And I can't count how many clips I've made, how many many hours I've spent doing this. I love doing this, don't get me wrong. But none of my clips have ever gone viral. I've had a few that have had like somewhat virality, but never really. But I feel like it would just be very fitting if this was the thing that went viral, was me just pissing and moaning about gym or just people in general. People shouting and screaming during sets. Like, look, listen, you can make a bit of noise. All right. I get it. Sometimes you just got to get your strains out. I was doing it at the gym the other day. But if I can hear you like at the other end of the fucking gym, that's not normal. Like, I remember one guy was doing I can't remember what the name of the machine is, but it's where you like take two handles and you pull them towards yourself and they both have like string on each side and you just pull them in towards yourself. And all I heard was like that. Like, was he the fucking Incredible Hulk? Like, come on, man. I can hear you. Everyone can hear you. It's just like we've all got headphones on, but we can all hear him. And it's like, what is that? You're like asserting your male dominance. Like, I am the alpha. Me, I am the alpha. Everybody pay attention to how strong I am. Oh, like just what the fuck, man? Come on. Enough. Just enough. All right, let's hear what Reddit doesn't like about the gym. Someone taking all the free weights even though they weren't using them. Yeah, I've seen this. Someone will take like 3 or 4 different sets, put them all on the floor, and probably just take like the smallest ones, lift about 5 reps, and then just sit there on their phone for like an hour. And that's another thing. If you're on your phone at the gym, okay, it's fine to check your phone. I'm not going to be fucking gym police, all right? Like, I don't care. But if I'm waiting to get onto one of the machines and you're there on your phone for like 20 minutes, that takes the piss. Go stand on your phone. Stand on your phone. Yeah, stand on your phone. Go look at your phone somewhere else if you know you're not going to be working out, you know? The only reason you should be checking your phone is in between when you're resting or to like, I don't know, change a song or like, you know, if you've got call, Bluetooth, whatever, fine. But like you should be using the machines and not making people wait for you. Oh, sorry. When groups of gym bros or gym babes take up stations but spend more time on their phones or shooting the shit. Yeah. And you know what's funny about this as well? Sometimes these groups have the audacity to give you attitude when you ask them how many like sets they got. They're like, "Oh, look, we'll be done when we'll be done," and it's like you're the ones who have the problem, not me. You're the ones being rude and taking up space and being obnoxious. And sorry, I'm reiterating what I said before, essentially. But like when it's groups of people, obviously they feel more inclined to be like that because they've got an audience. And it's like a group of people. And do you know what I've noticed as well? Is it's always like super young people. People like, I don't know, maybe like teenagers, 16, 17, 18, something like that. It's never like older people, really. It's mainly just these younger people that have probably never been to the gym before, or it's like their first time going, and they've just got an attitude problem. Whereas most of the people that I see at the gym have been going there for many, many years, and they just have wonderful, amazing attitudes. They're always nice and polite and respectful, and you know they'll help you out. They'll be there for you if you need it. They'll spot you. They'll do all these amazing things. Because they get how it is. It's supposed to be a sanctuary. It's supposed to be a nice place. It's not supposed to be a place where people have an attitude problem. People bring in portable speakers and blasting their own music throughout the entire gym. Yeah, I mean, there's already shitty music being played over the tannoys that no one listens to. I don't want to hear your music on top of that. Shut the fuck up. Turn it off. Buy some headphones. I spilled some water on the floor, and the gym's trainer rushed over to ask, "Are you going to clean that?" in a very condescending tone. It was my first day there. First, I was to leave a 1-star review on Google when I got back home. Never went there again. I don't blame you. Like, it sucks when you go there and the gym also the gym staff are not nice. Because if nothing else, like the gym staff are supposed to be there as like a last support line. You know, you can ask people at the gym for help and whatnot, but like the gym staff should be the nicest people because they work there. You know, like there's going to be so many people that come in that don't really know what they're doing and they need your help and support, and they don't know about gym culture. See, I guess a lot of me complaining here is me talking about like how gym should be. There is like gym etiquette and gym culture and like little things that you learn across the way, little things you learn like how to be. And it's not that difficult. You know what I mean? It's not difficult to be polite. It's not, I mean, for example, if you know you're going to be doing a lot of sets, you're going to be using a machine for a long time. A nice way to enable another person to use the machine in that scenario is to offer to do, I can't remember what it's called, but you take turns. So, like, I'll do a set, I'll come off, I'll rest, you do your set, and then we swap. And someone can suggest that, and that can be like a good way of, you still get to use a machine, you get breaks, maybe you even make a friend in the process. Like, everybody's a winner, right? A lot of people will tend to go for that, and I think that's really, really awesome. So yeah, what's this one? I worked out so hard at our gym at Camp Fallujah, Iraq, that I broke all the elliptical machines, and they wouldn't fix them or buy them and buy more. Okay. I got told at Planet Fitness that this is an American chain, I believe, that my water bottle was too big by the manager. Someone said lunk alert. What? What does that mean? What does that mean? Why? How can it too big to have a water bottle? What? Your water bottle is too big? What? How does that? What? There's rules. I don't get that. That's not normal. Women's volleyball team at my college getting priority on the free weights, so the whole area is sealed off while they're in there, and most of them are not using the squat rack anyway, but instead the Smith machine for half rep squats. That sucks. High school has taken over the bench for eternity just to ego lift. By the way, I asked the people of Reddit what the most infuriating thing they experienced in the gym was, and this is all the responses. Taking over the bench for eternity for ego lift, yeah. Or like they just sit there for like so long not using it, but they just own this part of the gym apparently. People not minding their own business while I lift. Tell me what routines to do. Oh my god, and what not to. Even when I have my own fitness instructor, they're very annoying. Yeah, it's unsolicited advice. Nobody likes unsolicited advice, but best way to approach that is, do you know what? Like, I see people at the gym sometimes doing things, that aren't correct. And I don't really feel like it's my place to say anything. If I feel like it's going to be dangerous for them, I will say something, and I'll be like, "Hey, mate, just to let you know, like, there's a better way of doing this, like a bit safer." Da, 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 da. But like, generally speaking, you learn through progress. But I think it's important for people to once in a while just point things out and take care of each other. It should be a kind of a nice space where everyone takes care of each other and looks out for each other. But unfortunately, you're not always going to get that. Some people are going to be quite, I don't know how to put it. Like, I don't want to necessarily say egotistical, but it's kind of like arrogant. Like, it's kind of, you come over and you just thrust this knowledge onto people, and it's like, all right, I get it, everything. Like, it's all about the way you relay that message. I don't think there's anything wrong with people coming over to you and giving you advice, but try to do it in a way that's respectful. I think that's always the way to do it. Some fat guy making fun of another fat guy for working out at night because that must mean he's insecure. That's why he's here at night when no one can see him. See, this is awful. Like, whenever I see someone that's, overweight that's at the gym, I think it's amazing. I'm so inspired by that because it must be so tough to keep going because you are heavily self-conscious. It's a place that you feel like the eyes are on you. They're probably not, to be honest, but you feel that way because the whole point is that you go there, you feel body conscious. I felt the same way when I first started going to gym. I felt so tiny. I felt fat. I felt terrible about myself. But the reality is, like, it's a space where, in its best state, everyone is there to better themselves and everyone is there to help each other out. And it's a good, positive environment to be around. And I can't tell you how proud and happy it makes me to see someone keep going to the gym consistently and you see like the progress they're making over months and months and months. You might never speak to that person, but you see that progress and you're like, I get that. I know what goes into that. I know how hard you've worked because I've been there. And it's a very inspiring atmosphere to be in. And no one in the gym should be, making others feel bad. That's just not the way that it should be. It should never be like that. And if it ever is like that, it's disappointing. People should do better. People should support each other, raise each other up, not push each other down. Because what you don't realize is you might be affecting that person's confidence, their self-esteem, and then they might stop going. And then they won't achieve their goals. And you might be the reason that prevents them from achieving their goals. And that's awful. Try to raise people up, try to inspire people, motivate people. That's what you should do. Oh, and just one final comment. This person said, me pulling and pushing with all my might and not being able to open the entrance door. Hey, some doors are just a ball ache to try and open. I've had this. And it makes me feel like, oh, yeah, doesn't matter how long I've been going to the gym. I can't open this fucking door. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, clearly I'm a weakling. No, it's just annoying, tricky doors sometimes, isn't it? Build better doors, gym people. I mean, maybe they do it on purpose. It's like, we're going to make everything about this place as tough as possible. So you're always getting a workout. Like, for example, I don't think I've ever seen a lift in a gym. Maybe some. I never seen it. I just see steps everywhere. It's like, that's right. You want to get to the locker room? You got to walk. It's a workout. Everything's a workout. I mean, it does inspire you to do that. Like if I'm in a train station, I'll always go for the steps. I won't go for the escalators. I mean, even now I walk to work. I could take the bus. There's a bus stop right outside my house, but it just makes more sense to walk, save money, get some exercise in. That's at least nearly an hour's worth of working out every single day, just by walking to work, half an hour each way. I feel like that kind of gym mentality or fitness mentality seeps its way into your everyday life. So if you see opportunities to get some exercise, even if it's just walking, you'll probably take it. And I feel like that's more of a change of mindset more than anything else, Anyway, I'm glad that I finally did this episode. It's been sitting in my notebook for ages, and I wasn't sure when I was going to do it. But I realized that I didn't have a podcast lined up for this week. Because I always try to get the podcast out on a Friday, and I don't know if I'm going to edit this in time. Hopefully, I will. I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be all right. But yeah, I wanted to do this for so long, especially because, and you might see this in the thumbnail for this podcast. You might see one of my transformation images, like most recently, like how I'm doing. I haven't decided what to put as the photo, but it felt like a good time to talk about it because I'm very proud of my progress and where I've come and what I've learned through this gym journey. And, maybe we can do a follow-up to this in a year from now or something, and I can kind of share more with you. But I just kind of wanted to share my experiences of what I've learned. And I guess if nothing else to say to you, like, hey, if you're thinking about going to the gym or you're thinking about bringing some more fitness into your life, it's one of the best things you can do. It really will change your life. It will improve your mental health. It'll improve how you feel about yourself. It will make you physically and mentally feel better. And it just gives you so much. It really is a positive thing to add to your life. So really, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about it and you're not sure, give it some serious thought. Really, it might be one of the best things you ever do with yourself. Thank you so much for watching, listening to this episode of the Christian Reeve Podcast. As always, be safe, be well. If you want to check out extra bonus content, you can find that at Patreon/Christian Reeve. I don't think I normally mention this on the podcast, but if you want to find out all of the other things I do as well as this, so I am an actor, a voice actor, podcaster, musician, content creator. You can find all of that stuff on my link tree at linktr.ee/Christian Reeve. You can find me on Instagram at Christian PK Reeve Official, on TikTok at Christian PK Reeve Official and Christian PK Reeve 2 and Christian Reeve Podcast. You can also find Christian Reeve Podcast on Instagram. This podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I think I got all the plugs in. Did I get all the plugs in? I think I got it. I'm talking to my non-existent producer. I am the producer. Thank you so much for listening and watching, guys. Until the next time, peace be with you. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one.